Hey everyone, welcome to The Path of Me. I'm your host, Wendy Hutchinson, and I have the lovely Jen Gagnon with me today. She is so many things, like she has so many irons in the fire. I didn't know how to introduce her. So on her Facebook page, it has in big bold letters, soul-centered bliss activator for high achieving women. And I think that is so spot on. So welcome, Jen. Thanks and joining me in the show.
Well, thank you for having me. It's an honor.
I have been watching you just expand and grow, and it seems like every time I turn around, you are just creating this magic in your life. I wanted to, before we deep dive into all this cool stuff you've got going on, and kind of start back at the very beginning, because I know you weren't always this empowered, fired up bliss activator that you are now. So tell me a little bit about who you were before you gained all this confidence and this incredible creative drive to unleash all of these amazing things you're creating now in your life.
I spent so many years being a people pleaser. I was one who wanted to do it all and do it all perfectly. I was very attached to all the titles I had. So being a mom, a wife, a business owner, I tried to live up to, the biggest expectations, and the expectations were really put on myself by me. And so I was just a very hustle hard and hustle harder. Had this belief that things needed to be hard in order to be worthy. And so I basically ran myself into the ground trying to do all the things and be everything to everybody. And in the meantime, kind of forgetting who I was and putting myself on the back burner for so long. And I was of a mindset of, I don't have time. I have all these things. I have all these responsibilities. I'll do this later when I have time, or I'll invest in myself when X, Y, Z happens. And I just found myself in this vicious cycle of blaming everything and everyone around me for my unhappiness, which I couldn't understand because I had everything seemingly to, be the happiest woman alive. I had 3 healthy children. I had, an amazing husband, a great business. We traveled, but I was very much of the perception, I was always seeing my glass half empty. It was I just found myself in a rut over and over again, and I couldn't get out of my own way. And so I just hit this spot where I went to the doctors, and I was anxious all the time and overstressed and overwhelmed, and they prescribed anxiety meds, and I wasn't the medicine taking type. And so it was kind of like that 2x4, and I had to get really honest with myself. And in that moment, I thought that my looks were what were really, dragging me down. And so I started on a fitness journey because, I think like a lot of women, I spent a lot of my life looking for the quick fix, right? I want something. How am I going to get it the fastest? Mm-hmm. And so I had yo-yo dieted, and I had my 3rd child. So I was trying all these things, and I decided to just become consistent with one thing and showing up. And so I was losing the weight, and I was feeling better, but I wasn't happy. Not the way that I thought I wanted to be. And so personal development was something that I had never even, it wasn't something that was part of my world. And so I slowly started reading books, and the more I read, the more I wanted to read. And then the more I was reading, and I was like, but nothing's changing. Like, I'm still, this is all awesome, but nothing's changing. And then I had this aha moment of, well, if you're not going to do anything with what you're reading, why are you wasting your time?
That's a huge aha moment.
Yes.
When you realize, oh, wait a minute, I have to actually go in and make some internal adjustments here. It's not just like read the book or take the pill or
yes,
and then it's all better, right?
Yes. And so I started implementing little things, which was really challenging because I was so used to my, get up, go, 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 rinse, repeat. It was just a cycle. So breaking that cycle was extremely challenging, and it took time. But through personal development, the spiritual journey came into play. And again, I wasn't really into anything religious really. I was, raised Catholic, went to church with my grandmother, but nothing ever really resonated with me. And then when I started on this spiritual journey of going within and tuning in, and like it was all these like aha moments one after the other, when you recognize the power that's within. And it's kind of been uphill since there, the challenges, the obstacles, but overcoming them. And it's just been a beautiful journey for me. And it's been beautiful to see that unfold and affect my family at the same time. So
there's such a beautiful ripple effect when we become healthy ourselves.
Yes.
And by that, I mean whole and complete, and able to really embrace and love ourselves completely. There's such a power in that.
Yes.
Which we're unaware of when we're in that hustle.
Yes, without a doubt, without a doubt. When I became a mom, it was kind of like, that was my thing, I was a mom above anything else. And I found that the more I work on myself, the more I'm giving them without necessarily recognizing it all the time. It's funny because my oldest, who's a teenager, she's 15, and the whole spiritual thing, she'll listen, she listened, but it was kind of like eyes rolling. And about 2 months ago, she came down and she came to see me, and she's like, what's that playlist that you use when you meditate? And I didn't think anything of it, so I give her the playlist, and a half hour later, I go up into her room to ask her something, and she's laying down meditating, which I was like, what? Yeah. My second daughter, will sit on the steps outside in the sun and meditate. She's been doing that for over a year.
I love it.
Yeah, they've taken on yoga. We move our bodies. They're totally into the health and nutrition, the foods to eat and, what's not good for them. And they're so in tune with their body in a way that I didn't start tuning in until, in the past 10 years. Like you said, being whole, we go to the chiropractor, we do a lot of holistic healing, a lot of that stuff. And when something's out of alignment for them, they know within an instant. And it's so, for me, it's just like, if I did nothing else, I did that right, for them to have these tools now, to know that they can tune into themselves. And even if they don't take everything, all the little bits and pieces that they're taking and they're going forward with is just amazing. I'm like, they're going to be unstoppable,
Totally. And also just the modeling that you are modeling, not even consciously, but just by living as the fullest expression of you. Yes. There's nothing more beautiful that you can model for your children than that glow and health and happiness and self-love. It's showing them another way, especially as kids hit those teen years. Those are such rough years around self-judgment and, those social challenges that come up for them. I know that you homeschool, so they're probably not in it all the time, all day.
No. And it's funny because they'll see somebody else who's in that friend or something, and they'll recognize it, which is super cool, to be able to have them say or recognize something without me even pointing it out,
Mm-hmm.
So
it's huge. Well, I honor your journey, and also I'm so happy that you were able to do all this inner work and have this huge impact on your children, because what we are really doing, right, is interrupting and breaking ancestral patterns.
Yes.
We're remapping our DNA, basically. We're really shifting everything and releasing everything that no longer serves us. So it's so beautiful to see what you've created from this space. I know you've always been a coach. For a while. I know you also do you're very involved in your business with your husband. So I'm wondering, do you sleep just 2 hours a night?
No.
Oh my gosh.
I figured out a way to spend time, I guess. I feel like I spent so many years running after time, and now I'm always like, no, I have more than enough time. I feel like I'm able, even amongst the chaos sometimes, to just make it all work. And I think I wake up every morning with the intention that everything's going to work out for my greatest good. And it does. And, some days are more challenging than others. Nothing's ever perfect, but I take on the challenges with an open mind and just try to stay present and what can I do now? And I think that's been a huge for me, because we can talk about presence all day long, but until you actually be present, you can't notice the difference. Because again, I was very much, worrying about yesterday and what's going to happen tomorrow. And I was multitasking all day long, which I still do, but not as much. And it's more like, okay, what am I doing now? What do I need to get done? And then let's move on to the next thing. And then if I find myself like worrying or overwhelmed, it's okay. Take a step back, breathe, meditate, whatever I need to do to kind of snap out of it, to bring myself back to the now moment. And I think I'm able to be 10 times more productive because of that.
100%. I think, well, for me, what I found too is with presence, it almost seems to stretch time for me.
Yes.
So I can be really present and just crank out what would have taken hours.
Yes.
In like a half an hour.
Yeah, because I think our mind's not running.
It's just, yeah, and it's from a very common-centered place.
Yeah.
And this is probably very difficult for people who are where we were. We're operating in that belief system that you have to hustle.
Yes.
Because I can tell you, you don't have to hustle. You have to be in that vibration when you can get to it, when you can get to that space.
Yes.
It's going to give you the time, the space, the knowledge, the downloads of everything, right?
Yes. I think when you have more than enough time, you always do. Exactly. Because I have the same 24 hours I used to, and I'm actually doing more than I used to because now I have like all these other things. Yet I still have time because I just know that I do. I never have that thought, or maybe not never, but I don't have the thought that I used to constantly have, as I'm always running out of time. I always have too much to do for the time that I have. Now it's like, no, I have plenty of time to do what needs to get done. And if something doesn't get done, then it just wasn't meant to.
I love that. How has this shift impacted your relationship with your husband, with your children?
It's crazy how much entrainment can happen. He's shifted quite a bit. He's still definitely grounding for me, but he's shifted a lot. Conversations that never would have occurred come up. He's never been on the fluffy side, but yet he'll be driving and see a beautiful sunset now, and he'll stop and take a picture and send it to me. Or if he's on a job site and the sun's rising, we had a job site that was like on the ocean, and he'd basically send me a picture almost every morning of the sun rising because
Wow.
Yeah. So awesome. It's the little things, to some people that may sound or seem very mundane, but for the person that he is, it's huge. Conversations around energy and things like that have been coming up, which didn't. And with my kids, the same thing. My daughters will now start conversations around, okay, well, what do you mean when you say this about energy? Or what does it mean when you tune in? Or how does that feel? So a lot of openness, I feel, has happened. And definitely a different vibration. Like, my kiddos are still bickering, they're still fighting, but for the most part, the energy is really good. And so, I try to share the tools with them that I use. If you're getting into a fight, take a step back, breathe, and they're usually pretty good. They'll retreat to their room and do whatever. But yeah, it's been really interesting to see the conversations that come up now and the openness that they have, around things that I never even had knowledge about at their age,
Exactly. I think it's amazing you're able to offer this to them at this time, because I certainly, when I was raising my kids, was very unconscious. And so, the last 10 years have been a more conscious road for me. So I still feel like they're paying attention, and I do see a lot of shifting, but they're adults. If they had these tools when they were in junior high school or high school, what a different path. But all of it is exactly as it needed to be. So it's all good.
Yes.
But I want to talk about what has shifted for you this year, because it's just like you were always so dynamic and creating impact before. But it seemed like this year you have just become unstoppable. And it has been amazing as an observer and friend to watch you just unleash your magic. You've built a holistic wellness center.
Yes.
Which is incredible. It's called Soulistic Vibes Wellness Center, right?
Yep, Soulistic Vibes.
You're creating retreats. You've got one coming up in Costa Rica, which we'll talk about in a little bit. You're doing a health and wellness expo at the center. Your coaching business has blown up, and you just really are. You are really impacting so many lives, not only with your work and the people you're working with, but you impact all of us watching you like, oh my gosh, this girl's on fire. So congratulations on all of it. But I would love to hear you speak to what those quantum shifts were that really just kind of set you on fire this year.
I think for me, there was always a little remnants of fear, I guess, and remnants of, well, I need to have X, Y, Z before, I actually do the thing, because I was putting myself out there, but not so much. And I feel like in the last year I've had a shift in a sense of, okay, when I go to bed tonight, if I don't wake up tomorrow, am I okay with what my life is ending at? And the first time I asked myself that question, I was like, no. Like, there's so much that I desire to do. And so I started living, it's as cliche as it may sound, I started living as if today was my last day. What would I do if today was my last day? And I want to do that over and over and over. And I just started, letting it all out. And so I feel like things have been happening like at the speed of light. I think one thing and I'm like, I'm doing it. I'm not holding back. And I think I've really fully stepped in to who I'm meant to be, number one, and number two, just trusting. I feel like I kind of jumped in that net's just there, and I know it's there, and regardless of what I step into, that's what I'm meant to step into, and that's all there is to it, and it's going to work out exactly as it should in my favor. And so I've just been kind of showing up with that knowing that everything's exactly as it should be. And I've heard this over and over and over for so long, but I think it finally clicked, and just became that truth, for me anyways. It's been just about, let's just live pedal to the metal, and not in a hustle way, but just, let's have fun, let's make things happen, let's create, let's just have a ball here. And that's really what I've been trying to live up to.
I love it. I hear Coco in the background.
Yeah, a little bit. He's loud enough that you can hear him from a distance.
Is he a parrot? What is
yes,
he?
He's an eclectus.
Okay. So if you hear a little something, that's Coco.
Yeah.
making an appearance.
Yeah. I give 2 cents.
Yeah. I think that there's something that happened because I've had obviously a very similar, I feel like we really kind of parallel in our experience and where we are, it seems. And I also have been in that mindset of living my life as if every day is my last day. And I'll tell you, you make different decisions.
Yes.
When you're in that mindset.
Without a doubt.
Yeah. So let's talk about your wellness center. You just opened this wellness center, and you're located in New Hampshire, but I'm not sure which town.
Plaistow,
New Hampshire. And you offer, well, first of all, you're doing all kinds of cool classes, and you're teaching some of them too, right?
Yes. So we have, because I'm a firm believer, like you in just whole health. I wanted that to be our motto. That's, all encompassing. So we have strenga classes, which is a combination of strength and conditioning and yoga. We have all kinds of different yoga, vinyasa, restorative, yin. We offer, meditation class, breath work. I offer every month there's a different workshop. I've been doing some soul flow sessions, which have been really, really fun. Planning on hosting some day retreats, some excursions in New Hampshire, which will be fun. So we do have a lot of stuff planned, and then the wellness fair is coming up in July, which I'm super excited about, to have the community come, and a lot of people who are hand making things are going to be coming to sell their products, so that'll be fun.
And that's July 18th, right?
Yes.
9 to 4.
Yep, July 18th.
So how can people find you? Like, do you have a website, or can they, what's your address, so I put it down if people are in the New Hampshire area and want to check you out?
For the center, it's soulisticvibes.com. So SOUL as in soul, istic vibes.com.
Okay.
And then I also have the Gagnon.rocks website for the coaching side of things and the retreats.
Awesome. And they also can sign up for, I know you offer online classes, like if they want to sign up and do online stuff. So that's cool. They can
sign up through the website Soulistic Vibes or the Mind Body app. You can sign up through there because our classes are live streamed when we have people sign up for online. So
cool.
Yeah.
So it doesn't matter where you're located. You can check out Jen's offerings.
We have from Mexico, another from Australia. Tune in. Yeah.
That is so cool.
Yeah.
What's the app? It's called Mind
Body.
Mind Body app. Awesome.
Yep.
Cool. And you do have this amazing Costa Rica retreat coming up in the fall. So I really want to talk about that, because it sounds like it's going to be incredible. And you still have a few spots left. So let's share a little bit of information around that, so in case anyone's interested.
So Costa Rica has been my happy place. I'm happy anywhere I go, but it for all intents and purposes, it's been my happy place for the past 8 years. It's just a different vibe when you get there. And so I've been wanting to host a retreat there for the past 3 years and haven't, because I wasn't letting myself just move forward with things. And so this year I was like, no holdbacks. This is, we're doing this. And so I found the venue, the home we're going to be in, which is just incredible. The location is amazing. We're going to be there from November 6th to the 11th. It's definitely a retreat for women to come to and expect to leave changed and transformed. There's going to be a lot of releasing, a lot of shedding. Every excursion isn't just an excursion. It's about really connecting to your surroundings and yourself, really tuning in and digging deep. And so there's going to be a lot of fun stuff, but a lot of inner work as well. So we're going to be going on a catamaran tour, just the ladies from the retreat. So it's going to be a private tour. We're going to be going on a hike, seeing some waterfalls, swimming in some waterfalls, mud baths and hot springs, and we're going to do some beach hopping. There's going to be a full day of inner work where we're going to be staying at the property and just really diving deep and uncovering what's holding us back, really. And for me, it's not about bringing women there who want to be healed. I want the women showing up there to want to heal themselves, because I think there's no greater power than the power we have within us. And to be able to hone in on that, I think, is really important. And I really think that's where the magic lies, because until you take full responsibility for your healing and until you're able of tuning in and tapping into that power, I think it's really challenging to get to where we're going. So we're going to be working on ourselves every day, but there's going to be a full day of inner work. And then we have a full day of integration, just to kind of take everything in and reflect upon everything. I have a photographer that's going to be there the entire time, which will be amazing. She'll be able to capture a lot of what's going to be happening. Excursions at the house. Every woman coming gets a mini photo shoot, because I really want women to feel empowered before they leave. So I want them to have like the most amazing photo shoot ever. in the most amazing location.
This is going to be so epic.
Yes, it's
So
going to be
epic.
and I have a chef coming to cook for us. So yeah, it's going to be
People
amazing.
staying like on site.
Yes. Yep. So I have one home. I have some master suites where it's just one bed. Everybody has their own bathroom, and then I have a few rooms that are shared. I have one room that has bunk beds. There's 2 of those left right now. So there is a good variety of accommodations for everybody. But I think that all staying on the same property is really important just for the connection and the sisterhood that happens prior to the retreat, because most of these women are strangers, so we're coming together now in a group, and we're going to be having calls between now and November because I want the women to connect and get to know each other before we step foot on the premises.
Such a great idea. Great idea. And
so
also an opportunity to kind of do some preliminary work.
Yes, there is going to be some of that happening as well, just to prepare ourselves, especially for those who have never done this type of thing or who haven't gone in depth like this. I think it's really important to be able to kind of set the ground before we head out there. But yeah, it's going to be
epic.
It is.
I already feel it.
So excited.
Congratulations on having the vision and making it happen. I think so many people stop with having the vision part.
Yes.
I'm going to raise my hand.
It's scary, taking that leap. And again, I've just been expecting that net every single time I jump,
And it does show up, doesn't it?
Yes, it does. It really does.
We are the master creators of our lives. And I think we forget how powerful we really are.
Yes.
Until we unlock the secret, which is, to me, self-love.
Yes. Because you have to love yourself enough to do the work.
100%.
And you have to trust yourself.
Yeah.
I think it's easy. I remember when I would because I knew nothing about the energy work or the energy world, and then I got a glimpse, and then I was looking at okay, what can fix me quick? And the more I was looking, the more obviously I found out I was running with scissors, but before I found out, it was who can heal me and who can make me live my best life stat,
Right.
And I understood and was taught that it doesn't happen overnight. And that you get to do the work, right? You get to heal yourself. You get to dive deeper. You get to be uncomfortable for a while if that's what needs to happen. And I've learned to be okay with that. At first, I was thinking, everything's going to be great now, because I did this. And now I know, when stuff starts getting chaotic, I just need to retreat and take a deep breath. And, again, some days are challenging and I have to work through it. I get to work through it. And I see it as an opportunity versus before it was kind of why is this happening to me? Now it's kind of, okay, what is this here?
Changing that narrative from victim to empowered.
Yes.
That switch changes everything in your life.
It does.
Because we start to, like you said, own that we are creating all of it. And I mean all of it.
Yes.
If you are in chaos, you're there for a reason.
Yes. And that stings sometimes.
It does. And being a recovered perfectionist myself, it was very difficult for me to own that I had any part in this toxic interaction or this drama-filled exchange. I, as a perfectionist, well, it's not me, so it must be you,
Been there, done that, got the t-shirt.
Yeah, so for me to completely change that narrative and really take ownership of every single thing.
Yes.
And every relationship or difficult relationship in my life, my part and the way I showed up and the choices I made.
Yes. And when we can start doing that, it changes everything.
It does. The energy of it changes, right?
And I think when we're capable of taking a step back and looking at it that way, we can quickly kind of shift or choose which road we're going down next. I think, before you're capable of doing that, you continuously stay in that, in that mode, I feel like.
So, and I think we're also, when you're in that mindset, you're so reactive, you're so defensive, you're so trigger happy.
Yes.
You're saying a lot of shit you probably shouldn't have said, or you're responding not in an elevated manner. So one gift, I think, has been the ability to really step back. I always step back and observe and go, wow, what is this about for me right now? Whatever it is, right? Because there's stuff we've done. I know you and I have done a lot of work, a lot of inner work. We have climbed some mountains.
Yes.
But there's always more.
Yes.
Like, really? I still have this layer of whatever? I thought I cleared that.
Once again, I was like, haven't I dealt with this? I thought this was done. And I'm like, no, finding myself triggered again. What's this about this time?
Yeah. I kind of feel like now, it's been so many years that I feel like now I'm just kind of scraping the last pieces of gum off my shoe. It's like just this residual stuff.
Yes.
But it's still there. I still have to sit with myself. Okay. Oh yeah, there it is.
But I'll see it right away. It's like, oh dang,
There it is.
Give yourself time to work through it. Do what you got to do. And then be done. Versus before it was like this 1 week ordeal of dragging, the thought, the guilt, the shame,
Yeah, it's huge because I think the more we do it, the faster you alchemize and transmute it to light. You transmute that negative. You lose the critic, you lose the judgment. You're like, okay, this is happening. This is true. I've got some work here.
Yes.
Let's just get intentional. Let's get quiet. Let's journal about this. Let's take a bath. Let's meditate. Let's really get present and see how I can release this and really be done with it.
Have those tools. It's, for somebody who had no tools, when I was living in that chaotic state, it was like to have these tools now. To me, it's just it's amazing to know, okay, well, I can journal. If that's not working right now, then I can do this. I wrote a post, I think a few weeks ago, I had this Friday where it was just for real, it was I was getting smacked left and right. And I was journaling and I was meditating and I was breathing. And I finally at 7:00 at night, I'm like, I just need to go cry, yell, and go to bed. So I'll see you all tomorrow.
Yeah. If you go through the whole list of tools, it's not working. You either need to just completely surrender.
Yes, and that's what I chose.
And tap. Go to bed, and tomorrow's a new day. We do process so much on the astral too. Yeah. I found that I've been doing a lot of ancestral healing.
Oh, wow, nice.
For me on the astral, a lot of people from my past coming up on the dream state, or family members, or things getting healed for me or resolved, which is really interesting. And I think a lot of people are kind of seeing a lot of endings coming too, either through losing friendships, losing people we love to the death transition. We're at this really pivotal point right now where things are really ending and beginning. I feel like we're just right on this cusp, right?
Yes, definitely.
I'm seeing that anyways around me.
Yeah.
So, yeah. So anyway, what if you were to offer some tools to people who are kind of the person that we used to be? What could you offer to help them to slow down a little bit and maybe get a little perspective?
I always come back and I feel like I'm repetitive in what I say, but I think that the foundation is where it all begins. You have to really get clear with yourself and get honest about what you do desire in life and what you desire. It's easy to say, I want this and I want that because I see somebody else has it, but you have to think long and hard about what's truly going to make you happy. And what makes somebody else happy won't make you happy necessarily. And I think that's one of the hardest things to do, is really tune in and say, okay, what do I desire out of this life? If I want to live in nature and be quiet and or do I want to live in the city? And these sound like, pretty basic things, but the basic things are the ones that matter most, So I always say to my clients, get crystal clear on what it is you want. And now look around you and what's holding you back from that, right? You have to take inventory. Take inventory of your life, of your friendships, of your surroundings, of your job, of, everything that surrounds you. What's helping you move in the direction of your dreams and what's not. And then you have to commit, right? Commit to doing the work. Commit to doing what it takes for however long it takes. Because I think we're in a society where the quick fix is what people go to. Right? How can you make me make $1 million in 2 months? Or how can you make me lose 10 pounds in 5 days? Or, and this isn't coming from judgment because I was there, I wanted the quick fix. But that's not sustainable. And then after you commit to doing the work, take aligned action every single day. Whether it's challenging, whether you fall, get back up. Right? To me, there's no failing. There's always a lesson learned, and you get back up. And you keep moving forward. And it's okay to change your mind. Sometimes we think we want one thing, and then when we have it, it's like, well, maybe that wasn't what I wanted. You can change your mind, right? We're allowed. I feel like we feel guilty because we wanted this thing, and we said to the world we wanted this thing. Well, what if you don't anymore? Give yourself permission to just be who you want to be in that moment. And so to me, it's really about slow and steady versus the fast and furious, because I've done the fast and furious, right? Lose 10 pounds in a week and then you gain 20 because it's just not sustainable. And so I think it's the same thing spiritually. You can sit down and meditate 3 hours every day, but are you going to do that for the rest of your life? You have to choose things that work for you, and that's going to work for one person, but it may not work for another. And for me, I'm really it's not about cookie cutter, because no two people are going to work the same way. Right? We don't need the same things at the same time. So routines, I think, are really important, but consistency and accountability is how you get there in creating new habits. So find what works for you, because I have, like I said, a toolbox of tools, but I don't use them all every single day. And that's because I'm used to using them. So I kind of pull what I need, but I did have routines in place when I started. What's your goal? And don't set, don't have a list to do of like 20,000 things you want to achieve. How about you start with 3, focus on those, make a list of the aligned actions that are actually going to get you there, and then just love yourself enough to do it. Right? Because if you don't show up for yourself, I remember making lists upon lists upon lists of things I was going to do, but I never did them. And if I would have done a quarter of what I said I was going to do, I would have gotten to that goal much faster.
Yeah. Awesome advice. And I think what we are talking about is building a foundation.
Yes.
You have to build a foundation. You have to drill down and figure out who you are at the core, and then build from there. It's so difficult if you are in the mindset of, like we were talking about earlier, hustling, because hustling means you're achieving or you're reaching goals. Hustling is like chasing your tail. You are chasing and chasing. You get stuck in those grooves.
Yes.
And you're wondering why you're spinning and not achieving or moving or elevating. It's because you are stuck in a pattern of chasing. So we're talking.
They're out of alignment, right? When we're hustling like that, we're out of alignment.
Yes, and that's the whole thing that we're talking about here, is being in alignment and taking aligned action with your values and your truth. And I think a lot of people, society in general encourages us to please other people. Mm-hmm. So we're in the wrong careers to make our parents happy or proud, or we're in the wrong marriage because it looks good when we first, or it was the right time to marry and that person was in front of me, but that person's probably not really the right person.
Right.
But we're doing so many things to keep that illusion of perfection, or to avoid conflict and not, to people please. Yes. And all of those, every time we're doing those things, we're pulling ourselves just further and further and further out of alignment from who we truly are.
Yes.
And the goal and the reason you're here is to be the fullest expression of who you are. And only you can do that.
Yes, yes.
By being yourself, right?
Yes. And that's why, I always tell my clients, every night before going to bed, ask yourself, if you didn't wake up tomorrow, Would you be content? Would you be happy? Right? And if you spend your life hustling, being in the wrong relationships, being in the wrong career, you're not happy. And to me, true happiness is worth way more than a title, acknowledgement, or any money, right? Because I've said it before and I'll say it till the day I die. You can have all the money in the world and not be happy. You can have all the money in the world and not be healthy. You know, and I find this society is really geared towards that. And there's nothing wrong with money, don't get me wrong. You know, I like nice things like the next person, and we need money to survive. But if you're not truly happy, then what are you trading? What's
100%,
that experience?
100%. I think happiness is the gold. And
Yeah.
the irony is when you're actually happy and you're actually doing things you're aligned with, the rest of it comes.
Yes.
Right? The thing you've been chasing actually comes to you. You're not chasing the dream. The dream's coming to you because you've gotten into this vibrational place
Yes.
of alignment with who you are. Right?
Yes. When you can be the frequency of the reality you desire, it just like happens. It falls into place, which sounds crazy to somebody who hasn't experienced it. But you and I know when you're in the frequency of that life you desire, you're creating it.
Always. Always. Even if you haven't even taken the first step.
Yes.
Just I think doing that inner work and getting to that vibrational space, your experience is in resonance with who you are vibrationally, which is what you're saying, right? So if you can get to, I'm sorry, this little dog, do you hear those little footprints? She's running all over the living room right now. So sorry. We've got Coco and we have Pepper. We're just making it
part of this.
an unwanted experience. So, but anyway, yeah, I'm just really, really grateful for you sharing that, because people don't realize that everything that's happening in their lives is a result of the vibration they're holding.
Yes. And you can shift in an instant. You know, inner work takes time, and we say it doesn't happen overnight, but the shifts can happen at every single moment. And the best way that I kind of have clients experience that is I'll have them close their eyes and I tell them, bring yourself back to a moment in your life where you were so incredibly happy. You know, one of my clients brought herself back to the moment she gave birth. And you're capable of bringing yourself back to that feeling now. And it takes a second, you know? And it's the same thing when you're trying to shift into a different energy. How can you shift into that? Not by bypassing anything. And this is another thing, you know, I think there's a lot of bypassing that's happening. So it's not about bypassing, but it's about when you want to shift into a different energy, you can get yourself there with your thoughts and with your knowing and your feeling. So when people say, well, I don't know how, or this is going to take forever, or I can't do this, everybody can do this. If they allow.
Capable.
Yes.
Exactly. I love that. I think the hardest part for people is believing they can.
Yes.
There's so much fear.
There is.
There's so much fear and so much self-judgment.
Yes.
You know, I think the hardest part in my journey was admitting I have things I need to heal within myself. There are some serious problems here that I'm avoiding, and I need to actually do this. I need to actually take the time and invest. And the first thing I did, and this you're gonna laugh, because the first thing I did, because when I was unconscious, I didn't know about spirituality or this journey or energy. I didn't know anything about any of this. I was also from a Catholic background, so I showed up I made a therapy appointment. This is so perfect. So I made a bullet point checklist. I'm like, I'm going to get in and out of here. We are just going to solve this stuff so quick. I'm just going to rip the Band-Aid. It's going to be fine, you know? And like, it wasn't. It took some time. It wasn't 3 sessions like I thought it was going to be, where I just unpacked, 35 years of stuff, right? This is like so typical. I had to get humble and be like, you know what? We all have our stuff.
Yes. And I think when you recognize too that the work's never done, It's not, I'm going to heal this once and I'm going to be good. You know, stuff comes back up. We're just able to see it from a different perspective with a different level of awareness, and we can kind of move through it faster. But things, I think, continuously come up. Like I said the other week, I'm like, I thought I dealt with this. You're like, okay, I guess there's a little more.
Exactly. And it always kind of, it catches us by surprise, because I think we have been reaching higher levels of mastery of ourselves.
Yes.
So those moments when they hit us are so like, what?
Yeah.
Like, seriously right now? But I've done it so many times. It's just so much easier now. And I actually thank the experience. I honor the experience, the person who triggered me, whatever it is.
Same.
So much gratitude, because that's moving me forward.
Yes. And if I didn't have those moments, I'd be like, what am I not doing here? At this point, that's how I feel. Like, if nothing's ever showing up, like, I like a nice stretch of, just like ease and flow. But every once in a while, it's nice to, do the work and have that come up, because I feel like that shows me I'm aware. When
and you're still, yes, and you're still doing your work. And we also have blind spots.
And we're living in this 3D world that's just, throwing stuff at us to see how well we master that last lesson.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. There's always another test, right?
Yes.
That comes up for us.
Yes, I nailed that one.
Well, I'm going to put a link at the end of the show for people to sign up for your retreat if they're interested, since we've got some time
left. And early bird pricing I extended until this Friday, so anybody interested, this is a good week to jump in.
Okay. And you said you have how many spots left?
Right now I have 4 spots left.
4 spots left. So if you guys are ready to level up, and I'm telling you, you will go through some serious transformation. I know Jen's work, and in this magical environment, it's going to be epic. So jump on and make your reservation now. A lot of people are verbally committing, but until you ink the deal and put your deposit down, your spot is not guaranteed. So
yes, and it's nice because I feel like I think it's more challenging to do the work when you're still going through the everyday grind. Being away like that and having the time just for yourself, to love on yourself, to be fully supported, is just an amazing experience.
I just want to thank you for all the light you shine on the world.
Thank you.
All the beautiful things you're bringing and birthing with your wellness center, with your coaching practice. Just, you're impacting so many people, and
thank you.
It's inspiring. I want to cry right now. So inspired by you.
Feeling mutual.
Anyway, Jen, thank you so much for joining us today. It's been wonderful connecting. I know you are so busy, so I'm so grateful for your time. Hang with me for a sec while I sign off. But to my audience, thank you so much for joining us for this awesome conversation. Think about this Costa Rica retreat. It's going to be incredible. And be kind to yourselves. Love yourselves. Have an amazing day. We'll see you next time. Bye.